Hello everyone, this is Darby with RiverBendSurvival again. Today is going to bring to the end the what I call classroom portion of the Bushcraft Basic series. The response I've gotten has been great. 100% of the comments have been great. The number of views I've gotten has surprised me, and that's all due to y'all, and I thank you for that. Today's video, wrapping up the classroom part, is going to be on my kit. Please keep in mind, I'm always learning, I'm always trying different things. We've discussed that in these previous basics videos. When I show my kit, to be honest with you, I'm not really looking for advice or recommendations. This is the kit that I've developed over the last 20-something years. This kit works for me. This kit works for me in my environment with my skill sets. And I'm not recommending it to anybody else. If there's things in it you like, you can try it, of course. I mean, that's your right. But this is the kit that I use anywhere in the country. There are some seasonal things that'll change. If I'm going up north, I'll take a sleeping bag or an extra wool blanket, things like that. But what you're going to see today is set up for where I live and the environment I'm in. 10 and a half months out of the year, I don't even need a sheet to sleep. It's that hot down here. So you're not going to see big wool blankets, you're not going to see those kind of things. Just understand that when I do travel to someplace where it gets cold, or even in the winter here where it gets cold for us, I do have wool blankets, I do have sleeping bags, I have those kind of things that attach to this bag. We're just not going to go over it because that's not the norm. We've all seen videos where people sit out in the grass on a wool blanket and they unload their bag and show you their different kits. Because I'm weird, we're going to do it backwards. I'm going to start off by showing you the actual bag that I use, and then I'll get each piece of my kit, give a quick brief description of it, and then put it back into my bag so you can see how everything stores in the bag and the reason why it's where it's at, which of course is all based on how often I use it and how quickly I need access to it, or how often I need access to things. Okay, this is the bag that I use. I've talked about it in one or two other videos. One on some changes I made to it, and then in the video I did on the basics, in the basic series here on different types of bags. This is the Italian Mountain Rucksack. It is considered a small bag. It has 3 compartments in it, and I've added 2 bags to it. We'll go over that just real quick. The total size of this bag is 14 inches wide by 15 inches tall, and it's 6 inches deep. So as you can see, it's not a huge bag. It has 3 main compartments in it. It's got a main bucket type compartment, and here are the 2 bags that I made into that. You can see that in another video. We don't need to go over that again. And then it has 2 wing sides that run the full length of the bag all the way down. I did some modifications to it. For those of you that are familiar with the bag, you can see most of them already, but for those of you that are not, just look at the modification video. On the bag itself, I carry a signal whistle. I carry a little pin type compass right here. I carry some extra carabiners. Right now I think I've only got 1 on it. And I carry another signaling device. And this is something I got into a habit a while ago. This is actually made for hikers that are out walking on streets at night so cars don't hit them. It has a bunch of different flash patterns on it. It can be seen from a long way away. Between this and the whistle, plus I have some more things in my bag, but I'll get to those in a second. But if it's at night, they're going to find you with this if they have a line of sight to you. It's bright enough to do it, and I think it costs like $4, so that's a no-brainer for me. I'll get to the next part now. On the bottom, of course, I have my 8x10 tarp rolled up on the bottom. That's always on here no matter what time of year it is. Okay, here's the tools that I carry in my bag all the time, or on me. We'll start with the simple one. It's an Estwing hatchet. It's the little camp hatchet. I know there's a lot of people that like the other hatchets with the wooden handles that they can replace and such. I don't know how many years I've had this, and most people out there are familiar with Estwing. I just don't find it possible to break this. I'm sure somebody out there is going to write something that says, I broke 50 of them or whatever. I don't know how you could do it. This thing is a solid piece of steel. It is the standard in the construction industry. Estwing, their design is the standard that everybody copies. I love this little hatchet. Sometimes I carry a Baco, sometimes I carry different ones. Here recently, well actually for a couple of years now, I've been carrying this SOG saw. It does fine. I haven't had any issues with it at all. This is the knife from the knife test. This is, of course, is on my hip, and it's the Condor Bushman or Bushcraft knife. And once again, so far I've had no complaints about it at all. But because it is a test, the one that is my favorite, it is in my bag too. And that's the Becker Essie, made by K-Bar. I have not physically used this since I got this, but until this makes it a year out in the field, then this is going to stay in the bag. And of course I got a little fire starter and a Ranger band on it. Now here's something that I do that most people don't. If you're not familiar with them, if you go to these, I don't know what they're called, these cheap stores, and they sell martial arts supplies and such, you'll find all kinds of things in there like throwing stars, throwing daggers, etc., etc. I buy these. And these are nothing but, they're supposed to be something you can throw to stab somebody with. I can tell you now they don't have the weight. I buy them. Let me get one up here closer to the camera. I buy these. As you can see, they're very small. They're made out of carbon steel. And when I get them home, I sharpen up both edges on them. And they're fairly sharp. You're not going to shave with them, but you'll cut yourself on them. These things it comes 3 to a pack, and I think they're $2 a piece for these. I can make a spear out of these. I can use them as a cutting edge. The number of uses for this is mind-blowing. I've actually got to make a frog gig out of these. I can make fish gigs out of these. And one of these days I'll do a video showing all the things that I do with these, but they weigh nothing. They weigh nothing. And they're flat, and they just slide right into my pack. They come in so handy. But that is the cutting, the tools that I use. And so far, well, not even so far, this is all I need. Now, as I told you, I'm going to put these back in the bag on each one so you see where they go. At the beginning of the video, you see this thing, my hatchet. It slides right in this slot and hangs on the outside of the bag. It's out of my way. On the side pocket on this side, the saw slides straight down inside, and it's way down there. This little set right here on the inside bags that I made, right here on the inside, it just sits flat in there. It's out of the way, and right now my spare knife also sits in this inside pouch right here. Both of them flat, out of the way, nothing to hang up on. And of course the belt knife, it just sits in the bag until I take it out. Once I'm out, I take it and put it on my belt, so I'm not going to put that back in the bag. Okay, while we're talking about the 2 little pouches that I added to the bag when I modified it, these are the other items that go in those bags. We'll do those next. Of course, I have a very simple compass. It's the engineer's model from Coleman. It's cheap. It is correct. It points me in the right direction. I live in an area that is so flat you could see forever. So I do not need these top-of-the-line Sylvans and all these different types of compasses, and they're great compasses, and I have one. I'm just not going to carry it around and get it beat up in a bag. If you carry that, that's great. That's a great compass. It's better than what I carry. But this works for me, and that's what I carry. And this pouch right here is my sewing kit. It is a U.S. military style sewing kit. It has like 6 different types of threads, needles, pins, scissors. etc., etc., a little tape measure, and I just put them in these little Ziploc bags just to make sure they stay dry. Can do a ton of repairs with these kits. The next thing that's on there, and I'll show you where it goes in a second, is an Easy Lap sharpening stone. This one here is probably close to 20 years old. It does a fine job. It's nice and small, it's light, you can see how thin it is here. I like it. It's not so great for the hatchet, but if you're just touching up a nick or something, it'll do that. It just doesn't have a real rough spot to it. It's definitely more for honing than for getting in and sharpening and changing angles. The next item I have is a 2-piece, actually 3 pieces. Just on a key ring on here, I have a little LED light. When this is opened up, I have a big sail needle right here that slides into this slot. And then I have a star flash signal mirror in here. And that's the other part of my signaling that I was talking about a second ago. Now let me show you where each of these goes. On the outside pocket here that I added to it is where my compass goes and the signal mirror and flashlight. On the inside pocket where I put the knife and the little spear tips is where my sewing kit and my sharpening stone go. And remember, in one of the videos, I'm pretty sure I talked about it. Once you find what works, and there they are in there, you can see how flat and small all those items are, and they're out of the way. Before I go to the next thing here, I think I talked about in one of the videos, you really, once you get your bag and get your items set up for it, you need to know where everything is at, even in the dark. You should be able to find your items in your bag in the dark without a flashlight. That's just familiarity. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've reached into my bag at night to get something out and I don't use a light. It just makes life a lot easier. But that's dirt time, so once again, okay, the next 2 items. We're going to start working our way from the bottom of the pack to the top. Next 2 items that I have here. I have my Snug Pack hammock system with bug netting. This is rated for 400 pounds. It comes with the straps, everything to set up this hammock is in here. The combination of this and the tarp that's on here is my shelter and sleep system. And I will be doing a video review of this. This is a new piece of kit that has already gone straight into the kit. It replaced what I had because right out of the box it was better than what I had. So yeah, I know I broke my own rule, but when you find something that is just that much better than what you're using, go with it. And this pouch that I made right here, as I told you before, I'm not some super expert on everything. I carry my field guides, I carry my Peterson's edible wild plants, and I carry my Peterson's guide on trees. I know most of the trees in my area, I know most of the plants, but I'm not always in my area, and I do come across on a regular basis plants and trees that I don't know. So by carrying this with me, I can figure it out. Now, having said that, because I don't use this a lot, and this is where we get into knowing where everything is in the bag and the amount of usage. This is the first item that goes in my bag, and that's one of the reasons I have it in this leather case, is so it doesn't get beat up at the bottom of the bag. It's hard to do this with it tilted, but it just sits flat in the bottom down there. You can't see it because it's black. And then the hammock system, my sleep system, it goes in there and it too sits perfectly flat on the bottom. So now my shelter and sleep system is in the bag, and I filled this bag up to right here. Where did I do my tape measure? 4 inches. In 4 inches I have my sleep system, my shelter system, and the set of books are in the bag. Okay, the rest of the items that go in the center compartment. I have one of my head wraps. This is the one I wear out in the field all the time. As you can tell, it's getting pretty rough. I have a red bandana, 100% cotton of course. I have a bag that has a roll of bank line in it, and I'll just keep it in the bag to stop the bank line from unrolling so I don't have to tighten a knot. I have a cook grate, and I carry it. This is actually just an old tripod bag. I carry the cook grate in here because it gets soot and it gets dirt. It's a stainless steel cook grate. It's as thin and flat as possible. You can see by the size of my finger here how thin this thing is, and it'll hold any weight that I'm going to put on it. It's absolutely perfect for Dakota fire pits, trench pits, pretty much any fire pit that I'm going to use. It works perfect for that. Let me put these away first and then we'll get to the cook kit. On the side where the saw went, I'm sorry, right dead smack in the middle, the grate slides down in there all the way to the bottom, and it's flat and gone. You can't see that either. It's just flat and out of the way. These two pieces will sit on top as soon as I get the cook kit in there, and the bank line actually will lay in here down beside the hammock. So we're still just about at the exact same 4 inches with that stuff in there. These just get thrown on top. This actually I wrap around. I set my knife in here and my fire kit, which I'll get to, and kind of bundle it, set it in the top, and then when I'm out there I pull this out, put on my knife, put on my fire kit, and put this on, and I'm ready. This is on top all the time just so I have a sweat rag or whatever I need it for. My cook kit. I just keep it in this bag, and these bags, my wife makes them for me. All these ones you see that are camouflage, they're made out of ripstop material, and she makes these for me whenever I need them. I've got the titanium spork with the opener and such on the back. It's a standard item. I carry the MSR kit, the smaller of the two. Inside, of course, you have your lid. I have another bandana which is used for cleaning this up. I'll real quickly go over what's inside this. You know, I don't know if I talked about it with y'all or not before. When you're out and you are getting wild edibles or you're eating wild game, whether that be squirrel, rabbit, possum, it doesn't matter. Yeah, the stuff tastes pretty good. I mean, I'm being honest with you, it tastes pretty good. It tastes a whole lot better if you have spices. And if you're going to be out there any amount of time, eating rabbit or eating squirrel is going to get old. I carry a tube of olive oil. I carry table salt. I carry some bouillon cubes. I carry garlic powder. I carry crushed red peppers. I carry black pepper. And I carry onion flakes. And then I use this for cleaning up my pot. Actually, I'm embarrassed to say it, but there's actually supposed to be a little square green scrub pad that's in here. I'll have to find out where that went. I probably left it out when I cleaned it when I got home the last time. So anyway, that is my cook kit. It all folds up in there nice and neat and small and out of the way. It's all stainless steel. It's not going to rust. You're not going to have any problems with it. Throw it back in the bag real quick. I just throw this down on there. Now then, in my bag, this just sits right on top, and it sits flat in there. You can see it sitting flat in there. I'm still nowhere near halfway up on this bag yet, but that's all of my standard items in here. And then these just sit on top. Right now, if you're looking at the front of it, let me measure it, or semi-measure it. There's my arm. I'm sitting right here is the top of where everything's at. So I still have all this area, over half the bag yet is empty. That's important because if I need to add something to it or test things I can, but I carry a dry bag for my food, slash bear bag, slash raccoon bag, slash whatever you want to call it. And I throw my food stuff in here, roll it up, and that sits in the top. And I still have room left, but I always leave room to throw this in there. Okay, side compartment. In one side compartment, I carry a number of items here. Now let's start from the bottom up. In the bottom, I buy these type of bags, Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever. Those little zipper construction parts pouches. These things are almost impossible to kill, and they're so flat. This one here that has the black X on it, I know it should be red, but it's black. I have my first aid kit. We're not going to go over first aid kit because that's subject to everybody's own opinion. I will tell you that there are aqua tablets in here too for purifying water. Right next to it, y'all saw this on a video up in Choke Canyon. I have added this to my kit. It's just one of those kind of Sawyer Nesbitt cook stoves. It's just so small and easy that I couldn't pass it up. And because it's not something that I depend on, this of course is a want. And that's what I want. So I carry it. There's a lot of times I don't want to build a fire, so I'll just use this now. In that same pouch, I carry weatherproof matches in a striper container. And I carry a Zippo lighter, and it has about, I don't know, 15 yards of bank line wrapped around it. I have found some things that I do not like about the stove, and one of those, of course, being the temperature that it gets to. It's not a super hot cooking dude, but it'll boil water, and most of the time for lunch, that's all I really need, or breakfast. These two items right here, on this side pocket, on this side, I take them side by side. I gotta stand up, sorry. I'll take them side by side, and if you notice on the one right here that has the orange, the stove, I make sure these tabs are sticking straight up so when I look down in there I can tell which one is the first aid kit and which one has fire starter stuff in it. And I just slide it all the way down to the bottom. And they sit flat down there. So right now I'm up to about here, not even halfway on this yet. The next item that I have in here is the lantern that I use at night. This is a candle lantern. These things are crazy cool. I bought the neoprene case to protect it. This is made by UCO, and I bought it at Bass Pro Shops actually. I saw a video by Kenneth Cram, and he had made a candle kind of deal for his campsite out of a tin can or something like that, and I thought it was cool, but then I saw this for sale. They're spring loaded. The candle lasts, I think, 24 hours or something like that of straight burn time, and I have replacement candles to go into it. Light it and hang it up. Almost no heat right here. Where my fingers are at, you can leave your fingers there all night. You're not going to get burned because it's just a candle. It puts out a good amount of light for your campsite. There's another attachment that can go onto it to direct the light. I don't have that. The main reason I don't have it is I can't think of a reason I need that. The other reason is I don't know how I would store that to make sure that it doesn't get broken or bent up. So I just don't worry about that. That sits down on top of those two kits. And it sits sideways, so it's sitting this way. The next thing is an awesome present that Kenneth gave me. It is one of these stainless steel folding shovels. I had been looking for one and I couldn't find one. Kenneth gave me one when we met up the last time when we were camping. Love this thing. Absolutely love it. And of course keep some toilet paper in it. And it comes in its own little pouch, so I didn't have to worry about that. It slides right down on the inside here. The next item that I have, and I keep it in a pretty thick fleece bag. be honest with you, I don't know what the fleece bag came with, is my headlamp, and it's just a Petzl, 2 settings, and I carry extra sets of batteries in it. That goes right on top. For common sense reason, when it gets dark and I need the light, I know where it's at. And it sits right up here on top. Oh, and actually, these gloves, they're just regular leather, thin leather work gloves. I fold them in half and set them right on top of that. And that fills up this side of the bag. Close this up and that side's done. So far we're up to here on the middle compartment, and one side sleeve is full. Okay, for my other side sleeve, we're just about done here. My other side sleeve. In the bottom, I keep a stocking cap. That's in there year round. And that's actually one of those lessons learned. I went camping one time and it got cold at night. I had plenty of blankets. Actually, I had a wool blanket, and I was plenty warm on my body, but my head got cold. And of course, these do-raps don't. Their actual purpose is to keep you cooler. And my head got really cold that night. So since that happened, I've always carried this stocking cap in here, and it just takes up like an inch or so at the bottom of this side sleeve. The next thing I have my Nalgene bottle. It has the duct tape wrapped around it. This is all Gorilla Tape. This is something I learned from Cody a long time ago. It works perfect. I like the Nalgene bottles. I have the stainless steel GSI nesting cup that goes with it. And I took a piece of stainless steel, cut it up, bent these tabs over, and I know some people are, if you can see it, you're probably thinking, man, that's sharp. I don't know why, but there's not a sharp edge on this thing. I think it was just dumb luck. And it sits on here perfect, and when it's in the bottom of the bag, it sits on the bottom like this, and then my cup nests in the top, so you know it's no space, no nothing. But when I'm making my coffee, when I'm just boiling water or whatever, this is the system I use right here. On top of it is another bandana. This is the one I call my clean bandana. And when I say clean, it's not sanitary or anything like that, but if I do need a bandage or something like that, this is the one I'm going to grab for. These, of course, like I said, they just slide straight down in there. This is so hard to do laying down. Got the stocking cap down at the bottom. This lid goes down in there and flips sideways and lays flat down there. Probably can't see that, can you? The lid's down there, and then my nesting cup goes down and sits on top of the lid. Then my Nalgene bottle slips right down through the middle, sits in the nesting cup, and then my clean rag goes on top. And if I'm going to be in an area, one thing that's a regional deal, if I'm going to be in an area where there will be fishing available, my fishing kit sits right here on top of it, just like that. That's not something I normally carry down here because there's no place to fish. But it's a regional item like I talked about before. So now this bag is full up to here, this sleeve. So I still have half of my main compartment. This sleeve is full, and this sleeve is almost full. And with the fishing kit in it, it's pretty much okay. Full. My belt items. Like I said, these get wrapped up in the do-rag. And when I go out, I put on the do-rag and I put these 2 items on my belt. We've already gone over the knife. This is my fire kit. I made this pouch out of leather. Inside it is a tobacco tin. When the lid comes off, there is a magnifying glass that fires crazy quick. I carry a couple of wet fires. I carry a couple of fire straws. I carry a Boy Scout striker. And I carry char cloth. course, I can always make more char cloth. I can do that on the trail. I have actually come to love these things, these little Boy Scout strikers, just because of their size. You saw one on my favorite knife. There's one stuck in there. They're stuck around in different places now. Anyway, this is on my belt, so I always have a way to start fire, and I always have a knife with me, unless somebody steals my belt off of me, and then I got bigger problems. Okay, so now we've gone over my kit. If you're looking for ultralight, my kit's not it. This kit weighs right around 16 and a half pounds. That's plenty light for me. Of course, I did another video on my haversack, which is right hanging on the wall right there. I can't do anything. It's hanging right there. My haversack's hanging on the wall right there. My hat, which of course has all the paracord on it, is up there. My haversack has another drinking vessel in it, has another cup in it, has a knife on it, has a little fire kit in it. That goes with me too. I put that across, and then I put this pack on and I head out. The main reason that I did this video was to show everybody what I carry. The reason that I want to show everybody what I carry is as we get into the skills videos now. We're out at the land, we're up at the field, maybe some of them might even be shop things, I doubt it. When I'm on trips and I start doing these videos showing the skills, people don't really need to ask what kind of hatchet was that, what kind of fire kit is that, what do you carry here, what do you carry there. This is what I carry. This is what I've carried for I don't know how many years. There's been some minor changes up and down. The hammock's a new addition to it. The knife is a new addition to it, or it's working on it. This video here is to answer questions in later videos. When I pull out my fire kit and start it with a magnifying glass that's on it, people don't need to write and say, hey, what kind of fire kit is that? Where did you get that container? My reference will be, look at my kit video. I don't tell anybody where I get stuff from. It's not a secret. Anybody can find it online. If you're watching this video, then you're online. I just don't recommend sites to people. All the stuff that is in here is readily available. There's only 2 things that I made that I can think of on here besides some adaptations that I did to the bag. And that is the leather pouch for the fire kit and the leather pouch that my books sit in. I think everything else has just been bought online or found over the years. There's nothing expensive, there's nothing complicated in this kit. I can't even imagine what the most expensive thing in here is. I have no idea. It's probably either the tarp or the knife, and they were, I mean not the tarp, the hammock or the knife, and they were around 30 or 40 bucks a piece. It's not a fancy, complicated kit. It's what I use. It's what works for me, and it's what works in this environment. So hopefully, from this point forward, we're going to be out of what we've started calling the studio around here. This is actually my workroom. These bins you see behind me back here are full of things that go in and out of kits, or that I stock other people's kits with, or my Mountain House meals and food and all that's in tubs over here, and it's just extra kit parts. Hopefully from this point forward, we're not going to be in here anymore. The weather's getting ready to start cooling off here in the next couple of months. That really hasn't stopped me. It's just been nice to do this indoors. So, get out in the dirt, have fun with it, and next videos, hopefully, we'll be out in the field and we'll start going over the skills. Have a great day. Thanks.